I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Kazoo Day, Frank. Do you kazoo?
Phil and Frank favors flugelhorn. Everybody knows that.
I don't know what any of those things are. Kazoo, to me, was that little big head dude on the Flintstones.
That's right.
Right? That's kazoo.
I
That's
think
the
a
only
kazoo,
I know.
when you watch NFL games, I think a kazoo, because a lot of guys wear those bubble helmets.
Yes, same here.
Right?
So we're going Flintstones.
Why don't more guys wear that? Vanity?
Guys ought to wear it. I think it's a badge.
I think of kazoo every time I see those helmets.
Welcome to PTI. Tony's at the day spa. So here to handle his duties is our great friend from the starting lineup on Sirius XM, Mr. Frank Isola.
They've heard me play the flugelhorn.
They can bring a kazoo.
I do shows every weekend when I'm in D.C.
Let's begin with blowback to the Pro Football Hall of Fame Committee's vote not to induct Bill Belichick on the first ballot. The six-time Super Bowl winning head coach reportedly fell short of the 40 votes needed of 50. Belichick was reportedly puzzled by the decision. Tom Brady called it completely ridiculous, and Jimmy Johnson termed it wrong and called on those members who did not vote for Bill to identify themselves. Frank, is all this reaction merited?
And number one, with the voters, and we've seen this with the baseball writers for the Hall of Fame, some of the guys will reveal their votes, other guys don't. And remember, Derek Jeter was not unanimous, and then Ichiro fell one vote short.
Yeah.
And we never found out the identity of them. I have no problem if they're not going to reveal themselves. I do like the fact that Bill Polian, a lot of people think that he's kind of behind this, and he said, I'm 95% sure I voted for Bill Belichick. I'm 100% sure with the way the climate is right now, I would not reveal my vote if I did not vote for Bill Belichick. But I was thinking about it, though. Belichick accomplished a lot. I think we both think he should be in.
Yes.
He accomplished so much. Then there becomes resentment. Then he has some scandal, so people don't like the fact that Spygate, Deflategate. Then he leaves, and then he goes to Carolina, loses. Then there's some personal stuff off the field, and he almost becomes a punchline. Now he has everyone
on his
current
side,
players.
back with him.
LeBron James is coming out. This actually, in the long run, might be the best thing for Bill Belichick. Here he is. We're a week away from the Super Bowl, and the former Patriots coach, not Bob Kraft, is dominating the news cycle. In a weird way, he's become a martyr.
He has become. Now, that when I started hearing some of the reaction, the overreaction is absurd.
Yes,
it's absurd. I voted for 10 years in that room. I would have voted for Bill Belichick on the first ballot. But let me explain this. The process which people, including most NFL players, past and current, don't understand is that sometimes you're put in a position and you're saying, wait a minute, and I'm not saying this happened in this case, but let's say Roger Craig, who is on that ballot.
Great player.
Let's say this is his last chance to get in. And you want to get Roger Craig in, but there's not an infinite number of spots. You can only vote one person in or two people in. And you say to yourself, you know what? I can get Belichick in next year. I don't want Roger Craig, who should have been in already, or L.C. Greenwood, who should have been in already, to slip between the cracks. I don't want that. So I'm going to move Belichick to next year to get these two dudes in. Jimmy Johnson out there stumping for them. Tom Brady stumping for them. No. So people don't understand the process. The process is extremely flawed. It's always been flawed. I have never been happier to get out of a room because of things like this.
And you mentioned, so there were 5 guys in that group. It was Bill Belichick, coach, Bob Kraft, contributor, then Ken Anderson, the former Bengals quarterback, and Roger Craig, who you see high-stepping, those knees up high.
Should have both been in.
And that's my point. But when you see those 5 guys, and Roger Craig was great, and L.C. Greenwood should be in, but out of those 5, the first vote I'm giving to is Bill Belichick.
It is, unless those guys have to go away and their candidacy is over. So in other words, I'm going to say Bill Belichick can't wait a year if L.C. Greenwood goes away forever, a member of the Steel Curtain defense who was, come on now. So the overreaction, I agree. I would have voted for Bill Belichick. The overreaction, I'm tired of.
All right, now
tired of it.
You're a pretty courageous guy. If you didn't vote for him, would you reveal that you didn't vote for him?
Yeah, because
really?
You and I both reveal our NBA ballots.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Well, the league does that. So when we vote...
Well, I did it before.
Yeah.
I did it before the league did it.
Yeah.
You got to take people head.
I'm more sensitive than you. I don't want people coming after me on social media. You're a big shot.
Come
It doesn't
after
matter to you.
I
You're
ain't gonna see your
Teflon.
social media
You're
anyway.
Teflon. It doesn't matter.
Give a damn about your social media.
All right, let's move to some potential NBA trades. Shams reporting that the Bucks are more open than ever to trading Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Mark Stein reports, quote, a persistent belief among rival teams is that Karl-Anthony Towns, who was benched by the Knicks in crunch time last night, the Knicks did win the game, could be moved even in a deal that doesn't involve Giannis. So, Mike, which situation is more intriguing to you?
They're both absurd. See, look, I've been saying all along, I started saying Labor Day that Giannis would be moved by the trade deadline. But then Giannis, Dr. Giannis tells us he's out 4 to 6 weeks.
I love that.
So what are you going to do? If you're a team and you can't get back the real Giannis Antetokounmpo, the MVP and recent former champ, you're going to make that deal?
Yeah.
Unlikely. And don't tell me Karl-Anthony Towns doesn't have great value. He's not an MVP, but last year you and I watched from the front row, Karl-Anthony Towns averaged about 22 and 12.
Yeah, for the playoffs, 25 and 12 against Indiana in that series.
The Knicks cannot, this should be the New York Knickerbockers season. This is their year. Indiana lessened. Boston lessened because of injuries to their stars. Detroit's going to take their lunch money, but this is supposed to be the Knicks year. It ain't going to be the Knicks year without Karl-Anthony Towns. So what are they going to do with him? Trade him for who?
Yeah.
Who are they going to get back to replace that production?
Yeah, well, last year the coach got blamed, and now Karl's getting blamed for everything. And I think what happened was Karl got wind over the summer that they were talking about moving him, and I think Karl thought, hang on a second, I like Minnesota. Probably going to get my jersey retired there. You trade me to New York, I'm back home, I get to see my father. Now you're going to trade me to Milwaukee? I'm going to become one of those guys that's going to get moved around. So Karl they could have extended him. They didn't do that.
Right.
So he's become kind of the guy that gets all the blame. Now, as for Giannis, I spoke with someone with intimate knowledge of those talks with the Bucks. They said 50-50 he gets traded, but they haven't gotten a wow offer. Now, think about this. Mikal Bridges, the Nets got 5 first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I understand that. I get it, but it's still Giannis. So I got to get. I want to get young stars and draft picks.
You're not getting
Why do I want the guys off the Knicks? I'm going to be kind of stuck in that cycle. I want 1 or 2 young players, and I want draft picks, and I'm going to wait until the offseason when I know where teams are drafting. I have a better sense of where I could pick in the draft. I think he's going to get traded. I think it's going to happen in the offseason.
Offseason.
Yes.
I can see it. I just can't. Now you can't see it with this out 4 to 6 weeks. Let me mention this, though, too, Frank. The Milwaukee Bucks have done a lot of things to surround Giannis with the
things that he wanted.
Players. Things he wanted.
Yep.
Including changing the coach.
Including his brother on the team.
Okay, so they've done all this stuff for Giannis, let's review what Giannis's record is in the last 10 playoff games in which he has participated.
Yep. 1-9.
Otherwise, Giannis is hurt, and he's not even 100%. On the floor in the playoffs.
And now you're hearing about the calf injury. It's not as much of a sure thing. When he plays, he's a dominant player. But to your point, 1-9 his last 10 playoff games that he's played in. All right, you go, Mike. You talk.
And now to the quarterfinal results at the Australian Open. Lorenzo Musetti went up 2 sets to love on Novak Djokovic before having to retire with a leg injury. Joker will now face Jannik Sinner, who rolled past Ben Shelton, again, I might add, in straight sets. On the women's side, Elena, I'm going to get the name wrong again. Rybakina upset second-seeded Iga Swiatek. I didn't get that one wrong. And Jessica Pegula, looking for her first Slam title, topped Amanda Anisimova. Frank, which result stands out to you the most?
All right, so Jess Pegula, maybe this year will be her breakthrough. Last year, Madison Keys got it at the Australian Open, won. Jess Pegula's only been to 1 major final. Maybe she can get there and win, but you still have to face Sabalenka. As for the men, if Novak Djokovic is going to win, that has to happen. He doesn't play a 5-set match. He catches a break. His opponent had to retire. Now he gets Jannik Sinner. He's probably going to have to play the match of his life. And if he gets
lost 4 straight to Sinner.
And if he plays Alcaraz, he's going to have to win the match of his life because he's trying to get to that 25th major. Now, as for Shelton, I'm wondering if he could be just like Andy Roddick, who was a great player, but unfortunately for him, he came along at a time when Roger Federer played and Rafael Nadal. So Roddick got 1 major, the U.S. Open, I think it was in 03 or 04, he would have won more if those two guys weren't around. I wonder if that's going to be the same thing with Ben Shelton because you have those two great players.
We keep waiting for Shelton to break through because it seems like he has all the parts, including the charisma tennis needs.
And he could,
he
kills it on his serve.
And so, but he can't beat Sinner. He can't beat Alcaraz. His record against those two dudes is 1-12.
Yeah.
So, and if you throw in the third seed, the third ranked player in the world, it's 1-17. And so Shelton just seems to. I hate to think this is his ceiling at 23 years old, but to me, that result, I'm looking at Shelton every big tournament.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, this is the time for Shelton to break through. He's had these chances against Sinner. And when he had him once, it seems like he was in a great position. He had to retire because of the injury. Yeah.
Reporter asked the question to Novak Djokovic. He said, you started your career chasing Federer and Nadal. Now you're chasing Sinner and Alcaraz. He said, hold on a second. You failed to mention I won 24 majors in between that chasing you're talking about.
Let's take a break, but coming up, how important is it that the man who got the Browns job holds on to the man who did not? We'll ask Booger McFarland.
We'll also ask
for our great friend, ESPN, NFL, and college football analyst, Booger McFarland. And Booger, there's no place to start except with Bill Belichick and the reaction in the aftermath of him not getting into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. You tweeted yesterday it was a disgrace that Bill did not get in on the first ballot. Explain or elaborate for us why it struck you in such a way.
Well, because you have the greatest coach, arguably, in professional sport, not just football, but in professional sports. When you talk about 8 championships, 6 as a head coach, 2 as a coordinator, he has left his imprint on the game. He's one of the smartest coaches, I think, if you talk to anybody. And for a guy who is the second winningest coach when you talk about regular season and playoffs in the National Football League, only behind Don Shula, and he's number 1 in every other category that you want to measure. For that coach named Bill Belichick not to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, to me, is a disgrace. I think when you look at the NFL, I understand the Hall of Fame is a small group, a very, very small group. It's a special group. And I think for someone like Bill Belichick, who's a historian of the game, he talks about the game from a perspective that not many people can, going back 40 or 50 years. So it means something to him. This is important to him. This is not like, okay, I'm a great player or I'm a great coach and I know I'm going to get in. This man understands the fabric of what the game of football. And for at least 11 people, because there were 50 people who voted, he needed at least 40. So he didn't get 40. So he got 39 or less. So for at least 11 people to say, you know what? We don't think Bill Belichick is a Hall of Famer. To me, it screams of powerless people trying to get power and become powerful. And it's a shame on them. And I think it just goes to show you that when you have a subjective measure like the Hall of Fame, that should be a slam dunk. I mean, it should be a no-brainer for a guy like Bill Belichick, that there are people that always are going to have axes to grind. And the NFL and Roger Goodell and the people that run this process, shame on you, because this should have never happened. And the fact that it's happened, it needs to be fixed and rectified somehow.
Yeah, it's a little hard to believe. One of those teams that Bill Belichick coached was Cleveland. They just named a new head coach, Todd Monken, who, of course, was the Ravens offensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz didn't get the job. The NFL Network's reporting that he's upset about it. How important is it for Todd Monken to keep Jim Schwartz on this staff?
It can be important as hell, but it sounds like Jim Schwartz ain't coming. Jim Schwartz basically told everybody, if I ain't getting this job, I'm out. He threw the deuces. So I get he's under contract, but by all reports, Jim Schwartz interviewed for the head coaching job. And now you want him to stay and be the defensive coordinator. It just goes to show you where the Browns are as a franchise. Like, you knew Jim Schwartz wanted the job, and the fact that he didn't get it, now you want him to stay. And this is nothing against Todd Monken, because I think there's only 32 National Football League teams, and there's only 32 of these jobs. And Todd Monken took the job. And I honestly think he thinks that Jim Schwartz is going to be his coordinator, but I don't think Jim Schwartz is going to do that. I think Jim is going to have other opportunities. San Francisco 49ers come to mind. But Jim Schwartz is a great defensive coordinator. But to me, this speaks more to the Browns. Nobody wants this job. Think about how many people pulled out. Think about how many people said, nah, I'm withdrawing my name. I know there's only 32 of these in the world. I don't want to be considered for one of them. Yeah. Think about that. Yeah. That's where the Browns are as a franchise. So I'm happy for Todd Monken. I think Todd Monken is a good coach. I knew him when he was at the University of Georgia. But with all that being said, man, it just goes to show you where the Cleveland Browns are as a franchise. And I do not think Jim Schwartz is going to be the defensive coordinator in 2026 for the Cleveland Browns.
All right, let's move to the Super Bowl, specifically the Patriots defense. Defensive tackle Milton Williams, 8 pressures against the Broncos. What makes him so effective?
Well, he's a tremendous athlete. You know, anytime you look at big guys, Frank, always for the first thing you should focus on after you figure out how big they are, look at their ankles. Because you got to have thin ankles to be a dancing bear. And Milton Williams is that. He is a guy that can create pressure and create havoc in the middle. And I don't care what quarterback you talk to. The one place they don't want to be rushed or don't want to be pressured is up the middle. And he does a phenomenal job. Did you know he's the highest paid Patriot ever? Not Tom Brady,
Wow.
not Gronk, not Vinatieri. Milton Williams is the highest paid New England Patriots ever player. And I think he's starting to earn that in the postseason. He's a phenomenal player. And I think Mike Vrabel understood when he went out and got him in free agency what he was doing. You put him and Christian Barmore together, they have a 1-2 punch inside. And if that 1-2 punch can create enough pressure on Sam Darnold and can make Sam Darnold throw a couple of interceptions in the Super Bowl, just maybe we might have a game when we get to Santa Clara.
We're actually going to let you go after we ask a college question, Booger. Duke quarterback Darian Mensah, he's going to Miami. He's going to end up transferring there. One, how do you like that fit? And what do you think philosophically about a guy being able to move within conference like that and go from one rival, if I want to use that word, to another?
Well, think about this, Mike, and I'm going to take this to the relationship game. If you're dating somebody who left somebody to come with you, don't be surprised when they leave you to go to somebody else. Let's not forget now, he was at Tulane before he got to Duke. Yeah. Duke got him from Tulane. Now he leaves Duke and goes to Miami. So it is what it is, man. I think Mensah is one of the better quarterbacks in the country, and Miami has kind of proven themselves. They're going to be quarterback portal U. They're going to try to get the best quarterback in the portal they can. It was Cam Ward, then it was Carson Beck, now it's Darian Mensah. It's working for them. It's the lay of the land that we live in right now. But don't be surprised if you're another school and guess what? Somebody comes and gets a player or two from Miami, because that's the nature of the beast that we're living in. But I'm not surprised at all. But Darian Mensah is a really good quarterback. Duke paid a lot of money, but guess what? Miami's got just a little bit more money maybe than Duke. And so now they got the quarterback, and he's in conference, and they're going to have to see him maybe in the ACC title game. Good for Darian Mensah. I think he's making a lot of money, but something is wrong with college football, to your point, when this type of thing continues to happen, one school from another.
Yeah, seems like just the standard operating procedure we're going to have to get used to. Booger, thanks, man. We appreciate you. Let's take one last break. Still to come, another golfer leaves LIV to return to the PGA Tour.
And a report that Jets coach Aaron Glenn reached out to an unexpected name in his search for help on